Hey everybody, Derek here to bring you another video for The Walking Dead Season 5. I'm sorry that I didn't get the chance to do a video last week for them. That was for two reasons. One was because it was a very busy week for me at school. The other reason was because really when I watched the episode and when I analyzed things, I didn't really think that it was worth taking like all this time to really do a video on it. I think that a lot of things were very self-explanatory, and I didn't really want to, make a monotonous video that really didn't, contribute anything to our discussion. It wasn't a bad episode. I mean, it wasn't the best. I mean, it's one of those ones that, when you watch it as a whole, it's going to be great, but when you watch it in that moment, I mean, yeah, there were some things that were lacking in it. But obviously there's a lot to talk about in this episode, The Distance, so I'm going to get started. If you have not watched the episode yet, do not watch the video or else you will be spoiled. Okay, so this episode was absolutely phenomenal. A very, very good comeback from last week. Last week we did get introduced to Aaron, who wanted to speak to Rick. And if you were fans of the comic book, like myself, you should know that Aaron is introduced in the comics around this time. I think it was in volume 12. And he basically comes into the camp and says, hey, I have a community that I would like for you all to audition for. I think you would be very suitable for this school. I mean, sorry, not this school, excuse me. Got my Penn State sweatshirt on, sorry. My community. And I'd really like for you to audition, see what's going on and hopefully join. I think that you would be very good for the community. And Aaron definitely has a lot of, good thoughts in regards to what it takes for survival. And I think that he's a very good judge of character, which we see, throughout the show and in the comics too. He doesn't just approach anybody. He'll only approach people if they seem like they're good people. And of course, in the comics, he talks about, how having Carl, like a child, them taking care of a child, kind of showed that. And in the TV show, you saw, where they were joining together as a group, they weren't going to abandon each other. And that was something that he was looking for, and it really helped them. But of course, Rick's group is very skeptical about this. Some guy who looks very clean with a smile on his face comes walking out of the woods. And the comics, one of my favorite scenes is when Rick was like, he's smiling, and that's not a good sign. I absolutely understand where Rick is coming from with that, because you think about it, the only people that really smile when you meet them in the Walking Dead world are, for the most part, villains. And maybe Father Gabriel. But you do see the point. I mean, Governor always had a smile on his face, when he felt like he was in control and powerful. Garrett, smile on his face all the time, feeling arrogant, feeling cocky, while he's eating people. I can clearly understand, why they're going through this. And, the thing is, if you read the comics or if you're a person, you kind of want them to, get over that hump. Of look, just trust the guy. I mean, come on now. But I understand exactly where they're coming from. When you've gone through people like the Governor, Terminus, and you've seen how dangerous people are, you're determined not to want to walk into that same situation again. And I understand where Rick is coming from with this. I would not want to put myself in danger like they did at Terminus. And I think that Terminus was really a big turning point for them, realizing just how dangerous and how manipulative some people are. And, you saw what happened there. I can clearly understand, why they're knocking Aaron out, tying him up, going to check the vehicles, doing all of those things, because it's for their own safety. And that's very, very clear, and it's also very understandable. And I mean, you see just how much Rick as a character has really become a hardened individual. And I don't know if that's necessarily a totally bad thing. Again, I think that it's because of him that some of the people are alive today. Because of some of the things that he has done and some of the decisions that he has made. And I think that that's something that you see in the show. And every precaution that Rick took was lessons from the past, reminding him of what happened when he didn't do something or when somebody didn't do something. And that harkens all the way back to, I'd say, even his experiences with Shane, and the mistakes that he made there. So definitely was a very good dynamic between the different group members as well. I really enjoyed seeing everybody's different perspectives on this community and about Aaron, especially Michonne. And I'm going to tell you something. I love what they have done with Michonne in the TV show. Absolutely amazing. You know, Michonne in the comics is still, to this day, a very hardened character, very unemotional, really doesn't let her guard down. I really don't see too many smiles out of Michonne, and I don't want to spoil too much if you guys aren't comic readers, so I don't want to go too far into everything. But Michonne is not the kind of person who does let her guard down or does trust people. And to see this character Michonne in the TV show, you know, becoming a more, you know, a character that does have faith in humanity, does want to see progress, wants to see them go to the community, I love that. I love the difference that they've made with Michonne in the TV show. And I hope that they continue to build on that because it's absolutely amazing. I love the dialogue that she had with Rick and, you know, throughout the episode. I really thought that was amazing, for her to, you know, basically share her thoughts and, you know, remind Rick of things that are going on. What I really love is the part when Rick was like, well, when you went to Woodbury, did you hear anything? She's like, no. And, you know, it's like, Terminus, did you hear anything when you were outside the walls? No. And yet when they pull up to the walls in the end of this episode, I think I heard people talking, maybe kids, you know, playing. It was a difference. And I think that this is a sign that this is not going to be the same thing like Terminus or Woodbury. I'm absolutely excited for what's going to happen next. But basically, you know, the episode involves them checking out Aaron's story, and it's basically about building trust and, you know, how hard it is to do that. But I think that really the group realized that they needed something. They needed to take a chance. They were going to be careful about it, but they needed to, you know, go to Terminus. Not, my goodness, I'm all screwing up here tonight. I'm sorry, guys. They needed to go to Alexandria. You know, and I think that it was definitely something that they needed. Especially, you know, again, even though last week's episode by itself was a little bit boring, it really did reveal a lot of things about the characters. And you saw that some of them were losing parts of themselves. You know, and I think that if they would have continued down that path, I think that they could have lost even more, you know, more of their humanity. I mean, you saw, you know, Daryl burning himself with the cigarette, Maggie and Sasha, the way that they were feeling, Father Gabriel throwing his, you know, his pastor's, I don't know what it's called, but like, you know, his mark, throwing that into the collar, I'll call it, throwing that into the fire. You know, you saw that these characters were losing bits and pieces of themselves, and I think that would have continued, had they would have stayed out there any longer. So they do decide to go to the Alexandria safe zone. And of course, along the way, you know, they start to notice a couple things. And again, you really see, like, just how careful they are. Because what happens is they're on their way, and then Michonne looks through the photos, and she notices that there's no pictures of people. And she's like, well, wait, you got this big community, and yet you don't have pictures of people? What is that about? And he says, well, it's because the camera was older, and didn't really develop things right. But I can understand why that would definitely throw people off, you know, like why that would make me a little more concerned. So I think that it's definitely going to make me concerned if, you know, you tell me that you have a community of people and I don't see people. That's not a good sign, and I can definitely understand, you know, why that would set them off, and they end up, you know, running into a herd of walkers. That was just amazing. I don't know how I'm going to count those walkers that were killed in that episode, with Glenn just running through them with the car. That was just amazing. And basically what ends up happening is they stall the car and they run off into the woods, and eventually they do catch up with Daryl and the other group members because they all got split up. Rick, Michonne, Aaron, and Glenn were in the car ahead of them, and they see a flare being fired, and that's when Aaron's like, "Okay, test over." And we wonder, oh, what happened? Because I think that what you see is that Aaron does have a partner that they basically go out and work together to try to recruit people, and his partner's name is Eric, which he is in a relationship with Eric. It's a same-sex partnership, and I'm definitely interested to see their relationship because they really do appear to have a very loving relationship. And one thing that I really like to see is that all of the people that we see now, how rough it's been for them and how dark they get, how sad they get. It's nice to get a little fresh perspective, into the show when you see people that are different in regards to how they act. Because you saw that along the way. It's kind of like when you see Father Gabriel and you see the different kind of, hope that he has. And then you see Aaron and Eric and how their love and their relationship, really shines in a world that really is dark and terrible. They're laughing, they're joking with each other, and it's so nice to see that because you don't get a lot of that in the Walking Dead world. So I'm very interested to see where they go with that. And of course, they do end up making it to the wall, and of course, Rick goes and he hides a gun in a blender outside of the walls. And that's again, Rick just being cautious. We can clearly understand why he would do that. The fact is they are learning from their past mistakes. They're learning about, hey, when we did this happened, and we don't want it to happen again. So we're going to take precautions. And I think Rick wants the community to work. I think he wants it to be real, and I think that he wants to be able to, have a safe place to raise Carl and Judith, but he's not taking any chances, and he's not going to let his guard down just because of his kids' better well-being. If he has to, kill people in the community, then he's going to have to do that if that means, protecting him. I mean, protecting his kids, and I'm very interested to see where they go with the Alexandria Safe Zone, because I think that we're going to see quite a few comic book storylines being developed in the TV series. I mean, there were a couple of hints that really I got excited at one part when Noah was talking with Eric and Aaron about their community. And I never actually realized, and shame on me for not realizing this, that Noah always had a limp. And that's what I thought I heard. I thought I heard that he got injured in a car accident and that his leg was always like that, and that he's lucky that he's able to walk anyway. I never noticed that. I always thought that his leg was injured just because of him falling down the elevator shaft. I found that very interesting. And then, of course, Aaron brought up that there is a surgeon in the community named Pete. If you're a comic book reader, you know what that means. And I will do a couple separate videos on the Alexandria Safe Zone itself, talking about it, hoping which characters will be introduced. I already made a video like that, but I might make an updated one now that we've seen a couple of things. So I'm very, very excited of what's to come. So stay tuned for that. I will be making more videos this week. You guys won't have to go another week without me, I promise. But I do have more to talk about now that this happened this week, now that we have, a little bit more information to work off of. Because, I mean, again, last week was not terrible, but there really was not a lot of information that you could really get out of that. I feel like really you knew how people were feeling, what was going on, and, I just don't think that me reiterating what happened and going back over that was really going to help anybody else understand the episode anymore. I think that it was very self-explanatory itself, so that's why I did not do a video. So stay tuned. I have more videos coming. I'm going to bring this one to a close. I want to thank you all for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. I will have some stuff about the Alexandria Safe Zone coming up. And if you guys have any questions or any video topics that you would like to see this week or in the near future, don't be afraid to send me a message, post it in the comments. I will gladly do a video if somebody wants me to. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you very much.